You're ready to get started selling on eBay, or maybe you already jumped in like I did when I first started, but I didn't have a great grasp on shipping. This video is going to answer all the questions you might have about setting up shipping, what kinds of things you're going to need for shipping, and how to figure out which shipping selections you should make when you're setting up your listings on eBay. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Margaret. I've been selling online for at least 10 years now, and I make videos all about how to be successful at reselling. So let's start with the basics. What do you need? When you are reselling, you're going to need some pretty specific items. Some of them you may already have around your house. You don't have to go out and buy a whole bunch of new stuff when you're getting started. I know for myself, I didn't buy any new materials or boxes until I had started making some money. I figured it out and found ways to get boxes, clean boxes that I could use, and tape that I could use. And until I started making a profit, only then did I start considering buying items for my business. Well, to start off, you're going to need boxes. And depending on what you're selling, you're going to need to figure out what kind of boxes or what sizes you're going to need. So these are boxes that I got from eBay. Because I have an eBay store, every quarter they give me a certain amount of money to use on their eBay shipping products. Now, I didn't get an eBay store until I started listing a certain number of items. That's a topic for another video. You don't have to have an eBay store. And there are places you can get boxes from family, from friends. Everybody's ordering from Amazon. I do highly recommend making sure that the boxes you get are clean, making sure that they're not like water warped or ones you got from behind the liquor store, ones that are going to be clean and easy to use. And there are lots of places. I know I used to go to Five and Below or the dollar store when they unpack for their shelves and they're stocking their shelves, they have some really great boxes. So those are a few places. If you go in, talk to the manager and say, hey, I see you've got all these boxes here. Do you mind if I take some of these boxes? And another place that I would get them is off freebie sites. Frequently people are moving and some of those boxes might be too big for what you need, but it always is handy to have a few boxes that are big in case you get some bigger items that are going to be reselling. So just let people around you know, hey, I'm going to be selling online. If you ever get any boxes, say this size, then maybe send them my way. Another thing to consider are specialty boxes. I got a whole bunch of comic books, magazines, and that was something that I realized I'm gonna need some specialty boxes. At first, I did not order the special boxes. I used padded, I didn't bring one with me. I would use a padded envelope, like a big one, and I would put cardboard around the comic book to protect it. But as I started making more money, I realized that this is something that's going to keep me from getting defects, because those envelopes were, not as stable as they could have been. I didn't get too many defects, luckily, because I did sandwich them between pieces of cardboard, but it took time. So that's another thing to consider, is like, is it going to take me more time to cut pieces of cardboard from boxes that I have, to create a sleeve, then put it in the blah, 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 right? And so over time, I realized that's really time consuming for me. So I started buying these, and I'm going to link all of the things that I show you. I'll have like a link down in the description that says shipping supplies I use, and you can just click on it and go look. And so I started getting these magazine and book boxes because I had items that, and it's adjustable on the size. I had more and more comic books and magazines selling, so it was worth it to me to make sure that they arrived there in a safe condition. You'll just have to analyze what kinds of things you're selling. Maybe you're selling clothes and you won't need as many boxes, but you'll need poly bags, which are these bags that you would get clothes in, and that might be the direction that you go. Next up is packing materials, and that is like craft paper like this, bubble wrap, or sometimes I have like colored tissue paper, and this is stuff that I save all the time. Every now and then I have to buy new craft paper or new bubble wrap, but I save air pillows, I save the tissue paper from gifts, I just fold it up, I have a tote, I stick it in, and then craft paper air bubbles, all kinds of things that you get when you're receiving packages or around the holidays, gifts. And then at garage sales, sometimes you'll see, you know, a bag of tissue paper that somebody's selling for $1. I pick that stuff up and I just put it with my packing supplies because it's so cheap when you can get it at a garage sale or from family members. Once again, when you're starting out, just letting people know, hey, you know, if you get any boxes from Amazon or where have you, if there's packing material, bubble wrap, then please set it aside for me and I'll come pick it up. Put it in a garbage bag. I don't care. Clean garbage bag with all the stuff. I'll come sort it out. So same deal. Like this, we got something in the mail that had these little bubble mailers, and I just saved these little bubble pockets and put it with my shipping supplies. I do have to buy rolls of bubble wrap from time to time. Anytime a package comes into this house, I'm scavenging it for the packing material that is, as long as it's clean and it looks good, I can set aside to use for my shipping. Next two might be obvious: scissors and a measuring tape, and of course, tape back here. I've got my eBay tape back here. Again, got that from using my eBay store coupon. Scissors, you don't need me to explain that. With the measuring, this is going to come in really handy when you're trying to figure out how much shipping you need to charge, because it will adjust based on the measurement of your package. So if you have an 8-pound package that's 4 by 4 by 4, when tiny, it's going to cost a different amount than an 8-pound package that's 14 or 18 inches long. That's going to cost a bit more. So it's really important to know when you're listing your item, what kind of box are you going to put it in? Even if you have to guesstimate a little bit, if you've got an item, say a big, I'm thinking of my Ewok house that I have in there, and it's, you know, a good 14 or so inches, you know, if I were to square it off, it'd probably be about 14 or 16 inches once I put it in a box. So I have to think about, okay, maybe an inch or two beyond that for the packing material. So I'm looking at a pretty big box, right? I'd be looking at an 18 by 18 size box most likely. So I need to consider that when I am listing my item. So having a measuring tape, and that leads me straight into the scale. This scale, as you can see, is a food scale. And before I had this one, I had a Weight Watcher scale. And the only reason I switched from the Weight Watcher scale, which I got at a garage sale, to this one is because the Weight Watcher scale only went up to so many pounds, like 4 or 5 pounds. It didn't go up to enough pounds. And this one, you know, you can switch it from ounces to pounds, and it goes up quite a bit higher. So that's the only reason I switched. And I got this one at a garage sale too. I do have a bigger scale, and the only reason I have that one is a while back I was selling Amazon FBA, where I was sending in big boxes of books and things like that. So I needed a big heavy duty postal scale. I actually just picked up a postal scale at a garage sale like a couple weekends ago, one of these smaller ones like this. Now I'm like, why did I buy it? Maybe I'll give it away, who knows. So I have this scale that's just a food scale. So you look around, you know, maybe you've got one in your house, maybe you find one at a garage sale, or somebody's got one. I mean, if you're not on the freebie sites, I find stuff on the freebie sites all the time. So somebody may be doing a kitchen clean out and you see one in there and you're like, hey, I need that scale, and snap it up. Next up are labels. I know there are some resellers who will say that you really should get what are they called? Thermal printers. And they may be more cost efficient in the long run, but for me right now, I just use the printer I have already. And so I just have a Brother printer. We use it for our homeschool. And then I buy the labels like this, where it's like a half page. And so I can get 2 labels off of each one. And I didn't have to buy a whole new printer. And I mean, it's not too expensive, the ink and all of that. The thermal printer may be better. I have it, obviously I don't have one, but because it's just like, I already have this, let me use what I've got, that I've gone with that. So if you've got input about thermal printers versus whatever kind of printer I've got, it's a regular printer, I don't know. And so I just use that. And then another thing that I do, which I did not start getting these pre-printed until after I started making some money. I would put thank you notes in all of my packages, and initially I didn't do the pre-printed ones. I just would pick up blank cards or thank you cards when I saw them at garage sales. Frequently people are, like I said, freebie sites, giving them away. You know, they've got all of this stationery and envelopes or blank, whatever. Even a cute index card that's, I don't even know. So just anything just to say, hey, you know, thank you so much for your purchase. And I almost wonder if it's, you know, a little more personal than the ones I get printed out. Or maybe the next time I go to print them out, I leave a space where I can like write a message. But I really believe that it does wonders for getting people to leave feedback. Even just that small touch of a personal note, like thank you so much for your purchase, you know, a fun sticker, I don't know, whatever. So something to put into your package to let the buyer know that you really appreciate them supporting your business. I get these made on Vistaprints, and basically one side has my logo, all of my links, which some are not even, some of them are not accurate anymore. Well, one of them isn't. And then on the back, I have a coupon code. And then I do ask them, you know, upload a picture with your review. And so it doesn't, not everybody does it, but on Etsy, you know, people will upload a picture of the item that and how they're using it at home or where they put it. And so it really lends that personal touch to other people that come and see your shop, and they see, oh, hey, you know, people really are enjoying the things they're buying from this person. So whether or not you choose to get these, and again, until you start making money, I would just pick up blank cards at a garage sale or ask family members, hey, you got stationery laying around that you're not using, I could use it. Even if it's like a birthday card, like cut the message part off, or like, I know it's, or make it funny, you know, if it's a birthday, somebody's got a pile of birthday cards that you buy, you know, whether or not this is for your birthday, blah, 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 you know, or put unbirthday on it. Something fun and cute, like just for fun, right? Because who doesn't like getting stuff like that? Another place we're going to talk about where you can get free shipping supplies is the Postal Service. So this is USPS, and I'm going to show you in just a moment how to order some of these boxes from the United States Postal Service. But there's one area that I want to talk to you about first before you go in and you start ordering all these boxes, because some of them are very specific in how they can be used. If I have an item that, let's say, is 3 pounds or 4 pounds, and I have a few different options for how to ship this item, it's important to know what these different terms mean. Here are the different shipping options from the United States Postal Service. There's Priority Mail Express, which is next day to 2 days. And with Priority Mail Express, you get up to $100 in insurance. Now, this one's going to be very expensive. I can say I probably have never, ever used this one. I probably would only use it if the buyer was really wanting it and was willing to pay the extra shipping fee for that express shipment. Next is Priority Mail, and this one ships in about 1 to 3 days. Again, you get about $100 or up to $100 is what the site says, about $100 in insurance for this. You get the tracking number, and this one gets there fairly quickly. And with Priority Mail, there isn't a minimum weight or maximum weight as far as I know. I just imagine it would just get more and more and more expensive. With certain shipping options, there are certain weight limits, which we'll get to in just a moment. Next up is Ground Advantage, which is similar to Priority because you can ship things that are bigger and heavier. It's 2 to 5 business days, so it takes a little bit longer, and it says packages up to 70 pounds. And something to remember about Ground Advantage is that it's only for the US. So if you're planning to ship internationally, this is not going to be able to ship internationally for you. This was a big change in the last, I'm not sure exactly when this happened, sometime within the last year. I used to ship first class, so Ground Advantage kind of took over part of what my lighter items would ship at first class, because it used to be first class would be anything that was under a pound, 15 ounces and under, but now that's changed and it's up to 13 ounces. And this one seems to be reserved more for like larger envelopes. So if you're shipping things and maybe bubble mailers, you might still be able to use the first class, but I haven't tried that yet. I still am using Ground Advantage. And then there's Media Mail. With Media Mail, you can only ship certain items like books, CDs, VHS, DVDs, things that are media items. And I will link this page in the description, so if you want to come back and peruse it a little bit more. There's something else that I want you to know about Priority Mail, because when you go to the USPS website to order their free shipping supplies, you've got to understand the difference between priority mail boxes and priority mail flat rate boxes. So now that I've shared that piece with you, I want to go back a little bit and let's look at where we get the free shipping supplies from the post office. You're going to come over to the USPS site, select those 3 lines and go to shop. When you come to shop, select shipping supplies, and then I'm going to filter by free. So free shipping supplies. This is where you're going to find all the different boxes and envelopes that you can order from the USPS, and they'll have it shipped directly to your home. Now, most of these envelopes I've not ordered. The only one of the envelopes that I have ordered is the priority mail flat rate envelope. Now let's talk about flat rate. What this means is that their slogan was, if it fits, it ships. So anything you can fit in a flat rate box, no matter how heavy it is, will ship for a flat fee. And that depends on the size of the flat rate envelope or box. It used to be about $9 to ship a flat rate envelope. I'm not sure if that's changed lately because I haven't used one in a little while, but it will be a flat rate price. So this comes into play, like let's say you see this priority mail flat rate medium box and you think, hey, this is perfect for the item I've got. I'm gonna use this box. If you order this box and you don't print a label that's flat rate, they're gonna return it to you. You cannot use this box for Ground Advantage. You cannot use this box for regular priority. You have to make sure that you've got the flat rate postage for the specific box. So unless you are really familiar with that, then I'd be careful with selecting flat rate. Now, I know some new sellers, while they're getting their feet under them to learn about shipping, they only do flat rate because then they know exactly how much to charge for their item being shipped. It will be a little more expensive, so it might affect your sales in that way, but if you're trying to learn and you're nervous, then that's something to consider. It will be more expensive, especially for things that are, under a pound or things of that nature, but it is an option to ship things flat rate. So here you see a priority mail DVD box. This is a free item that you can get, a pack of 25 of these. But keep in mind that you could also ship the DVD using media mail or Ground Advantage and it would be cheaper. But if you're really wanting to ship priority mail, then these are some boxes that you can get to ship that item priority mail. Here's a priority mail shoe box. If you're shipping shoes, then this is perfect because shoes are usually over a pound. They have to be really light to not be. But this is something that if you're shipping shoes or things that might fit in a shoe box that are a little bit heavier, then that's a great box. I've used that one a number of times. And as you can see, there are a few others. Here's a medium box, this cube shaped box. I've used this one a lot sometimes when I ship mugs, if they're a bigger size mug, this is a box that I like to use. I think you get the idea. You can scroll through and see which size and types of boxes you might be able to use for your business. Another thing I would recommend that you do before we jump over to eBay is to come to the post office and get a P.O. box. This is really important because when you're shipping out your items on eBay, your return address is put on the package. And if you have it as your home address, then that's something that if you get a bad buyer or you never know in this world, right? Who knows? Then that could lead to who knows what, right? So going to the post office and setting up a P.O. box is one thing that I highly recommend. This is one of the things that pretty early on I was willing to spend the money on. You don't have to get a big box, get the smallest box that they have. And if you get any packages or returns, they just put a key and there's a parcel locker. So you don't need a big post office box, but just getting a small one and being able to use that as your return address on eBay and on anything else you might do that relates to your business, it's fantastic. One of the great things about shipping through the platform that you are selling on is that these sites get shipping discounts. So you'll pay a little bit less than you would if you were just getting your shipping label from the post office directly. I know there are other places like Pirate Ship that you can look to get cheaper shipping, but this is something I've looked at, but I haven't really found any cheaper prices. I know some people swear by it. And the thing about that is you can still get your tracking number and upload it to your sale. So that's going to be really important if you go outside of eBay or Etsy to get your shipping label. The next part of this is the part that was the hardest thing for me when I first started, and that was figuring out how much I should charge for shipping. This has gotten easier over time, but I have to say this was the hardest part of reselling for me when I first started, because I wasn't accurately measuring how much something weighed or how much I thought it would, what size box it would be. I really had to learn to slow down and go in and measure and weigh everything. And it was kind of daunting at first, but there were so many times that I did not calculate the right amount, and the amount was coming out of my profits because I was over, on the shipping. I was having to pay an extra $2, $3, $4 because I didn't calculate it correctly. And rather than canceling the sale because it's not the buyer's fault, I just had to eat that and use it as a learning experience because it was my fault. So once I really got the hang of it and figured out, like, okay, being able with time to learn, like, this weighs about this much, this is about how big it is, I don't have to do it as often. There are still items that I will weigh and figure out what box I'm going to put it in so that I know for a fact that I'm not going to end up like owing money or being in the negative, because that can happen if you don't calculate your shipping correctly. And this kind of leads into free shipping. Early on, I started trying free shipping, and that was another area that I really messed up with because I was such a novice at reselling that I started free shipping. I was doing all the things that people were saying to do, right? And I was doing best offer, and so I would take an offer, but then I would forget, like, oops, I have free shipping. So now, like, that ate into the profit, it ate into the shipping amount that I was supposed to charge. So for many, many years, I just stopped doing free shipping altogether, and I recently turned it back on to try, and I probably had it on for the last couple of months, and just in the last couple of days I've decided I'm not doing this. I don't see an increase in my sales, and I know people have said, oh, they still, you're still getting eBay fees. That, yeah, my reason for doing it wasn't for the fees. My reason was trying to see if I got more sales. And I didn't really see much of an uptick in sales. So I went ahead and went back and put on calculated shipping. So let's take a peek. I've chosen this panda bear that I've got, and it's a 10-inch Thai bear. And as you can see, you can see here that the shipping right now is $5.52, but this is based on like where I live, right? Let's say that I want to change this. I like to use 90210 because it's funny. But another thing to do is use Bangor, Maine, or like someplace in Alaska or someplace in Hawaii that's in the United States, but far away from where, depending on where you are. If you're in Maine, pick Los Angeles or something like that. And from here to 90210, then our shipping changes to $6.09. So it varies based on distance. It varies based on, the weight and the size and all this. So let's go in, and I'm going to show you, when you're creating your listing, how to set this up so that they calculate it for you. We've got our panda here. I'm going to come over to revise my listing, and we're going to look at how I set up my calculated shipping. As you can see, I make sure that I take photos of my item with the measuring tape so that when I start listing later, frequently I take a bunch of pictures and then I list later. I'll remember that this isn't like a Beanie Baby little one. It's a big one, right? So I make sure I have my measurements in my photos and in my description. Here we go. So here we're looking at our shipping. Now I have selected standard shipping. I'm having eBay calculate it for me. The reason I choose to do this is because if the item sells and it's going across to Denver, it's not going to cost that much. But if it's going to Juneau, Alaska, it's going to cost more. And I don't have to figure out every single zip code in order to be able to calculate that. And if I choose like, okay, I'm just going to charge $7. Well, then the people that live closer to me are having to pay more. I type in the package dimensions that I think my item will fit in. Usually I'll make sure I have the box and the measurements correct, and then the weight of the item. On this one, I estimated a little bit over. A lot of times I'll add a few extra ounces. I'll add the box, the shipping material, the item, I'll weigh it with my scale, see how much it is, and then I'll add just a little bit of cushion, a few extra ounces, to make sure that I am not messing up along the way somewhere. So that is what I do, and then I select calculated. Cost varies based on buyer's location, but as you can see, you can select flat rate. So if you're using a flat rate box, you can select that, put the amount of the flat rate in there, and just leave it be. But because I'm using Ground Advantage, and at the moment, for most of my items, that's the only option I have. You can go in and select additional services. So let's say I don't use FedEx or US or UPS, but if I wanted to, I could come back and add that. But let's say I want to add in priority flat rate box so that the buyer can choose which option they would like. But for the most part, I just leave it at Ground Advantage. And then if somebody were to say, I really want you to ship it flat rate, can we adjust that? Can you put that in there as an option? And then I'll go put it in as an option. And at the moment, I have turned off international shipping. I have always shipped internationally, even as an early seller. But as a new seller for you, maybe it's something to consider, just to hold off on international shipping for the moment. But if you were to turn this on, let me show you what that looks like. Again, I would want to calculate it because it's going to be different going to New Zealand versus going to Canada. Then the services I would choose from, because it is under a certain weight, and international first class versus priority, the weight discrepancy is different. I think it's like 3 to 5 pounds to do international priority. So this one they would be able to choose first class, and you can see that it would cost about that much to ship it, maybe to Canada versus New Zealand or something like that. So there's lots of different priority options, and you can see, look, Worldwide Express is 100 and something. Yeah, some are quite expensive. So let's say I save that. Ships worldwide. If you're wanting to not have anything outside, let's say North and South America or Canada, or you're wanting to exclude certain countries for some reason, then you can go in and select, I'm only wanting it to go to North America, South America, Canada, Mexico, anything in Europe, UK, and I'm gonna leave off Australia. Not really though. So ships worldwide. So that is what you would do if you were wanting to include international. I recommend doing calculated, as long as you've got your box and shipping and weight and everything you've got it all lined up. And I wanted to show you the difference in price if you're getting your shipping label from USPS versus on eBay. So I'm using the same Panda weight measurements and all that. On the USPS, if I am shipping it 15 ounces and I'm going to ship it, let's scroll down to Ground Advantage, you can see that it would cost about $8.60 to ship it if I just went to the post office and got my label, or I ordered it online from home. Now, if I order it from eBay, there's an eBay shipping calculator to try to figure that out. So on the eBay shipping calculator, I've entered in all of my package dimensions, my weight, my destinations, and you can see here that the shipping price would be $6.09 versus the $8.60. I like that they show you, like, this is what it would be on the USPS and this is what you're getting charged over here. So you're getting charged a lot less when you are buying your shipping through eBay. I'm sure there are questions that you've got that I've missed. Make sure you leave those questions in the comments section down below so that I can come address them. Also, if I do a follow-up, I don't want you to miss it. So make sure you've hit the subscribe button and the little bell, because sometimes I'll go live and I can answer some of the questions from the video in the comment section that perhaps I overlooked or didn't think about. So if you've got those questions, leave them down there for me to answer, or for other sellers to answer, and hit that notification bell so you are aware and notified when I go live to answer any other questions that might pop up that I missed. I appreciate you watching and so much luck to you. I really know that you can do this and that you're going to be successful. And I can't wait to hear how amazing your reselling business is going. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.